It's an attack on everything that we stand for and believe in. What I've learnt this week is that the government are incapable of beating us on our arguments.
Nigel Farage confronts David Lammy in Parliament over controversial. You're not going to believe what just unfolded inside Parliament just minutes ago. The air was tense, the benches were full, and everyone knew something big was about to happen. But no one, not even the Speaker, expected this. Nigel Farage, never one to hold back, took to the floor with the kind of energy that makes everyone stop mid-sentence. And this time, his target was none other than David Lammy, one of Labour's most outspoken and controversial figures. What started as a routine exchange quickly turned into a heated confrontation, one that's now making headlines across the UK. It began during a parliamentary discussion about the government's new economic and immigration policies, topics that always seem to put both parties at each other's throats. Farage, known for his fiery delivery, asked to respond to comments Lammy made earlier in the week about political opportunists undermining national unity. Farage leaned forward, his voice steady but sharp. "You talk about unity, David," he said, "but how can you call for unity when your own words divide half the country?" A wave of murmurs rippled across the chamber. MPs looked up from their papers. Some chuckled. Others braced themselves. Lammy tried to interject, but Farage wasn't done. "You accuse people of spreading hate," he continued, "but what about accountability? What about honesty? What about the fact that your party has turned working-class voters away, people who feel abandoned, silenced, ignored?" At that point, the Speaker had to call for order twice. But the crowd was already reacting, half cheering, half jeering. Farage didn't stop there. He brought up Lammy's recent television appearance, where the Labour MP suggested that Farage's politics represented a dangerous nostalgia for the past. Farage fired back, "You call it nostalgia, I call it remembering who we are. You say I divide people, I say I'm giving a voice to those you've forgotten." Even those who don't normally side with Farage couldn't deny the impact of that line. It hit hard. Social media erupted within minutes. Hashtags like #Farage vs Lammy and #Parliament Showdown began trending. One user wrote, "Say what you will about Farage, but he just said what millions have been thinking." Another fired back, "Classic distraction tactic. Farage can talk, but where are his solutions?" That's the beauty and the chaos of British politics. Every word turns into ammunition for someone. To understand why this moment hit so hard, you have to look at the growing tension between Reform UK, the movement Farage leads, and Labour's core leadership. Farage's popularity has surged recently, largely because of his ability to tap into public frustration. Rising costs, migration challenges, and what many see as political hypocrisy have all fueled his message. Lammy, on the other hand, has positioned himself as a defender of progressive values, vocal, passionate, and unafraid to call out what he sees as divisive politics. But here's the problem. Many ordinary citizens say both parties are talking past each other. While one side accuses the other of populism, and the other claims moral superiority, the average person just wants leadership that listens. And today, that disconnect was on full display. One MP from the Conservative benches was overheard saying, "That was one of the most uncomfortable exchanges we've seen this session." Meanwhile, a senior Labour aide reportedly told a journalist off the record, "Lammy walked right into it. He underestimated how sharp Farage can be when he's on the offensive." Outside Westminster, reactions were just as divided. A political commentator on GB News summed it up bluntly. "Farage has mastered the art of timing. He doesn't just argue, he performs. And when he catches someone like Lammy off guard, the whole country tunes in." But not everyone was impressed. A BBC panelist pushed back, saying, "This isn't leadership, it's theatre. The British public deserves more substance and less showmanship." Whether you like Farage or not, moments like this remind us why he remains one of the most talked-about figures in UK politics. He knows how to seize attention and, more importantly, how to make an issue feel personal. Lammy, though visibly frustrated, tried to regain control of the narrative later in the session. He stood up and said calmly, "Politics should be about progress, not provocation." But by then, the headlines had already been written. On X, formerly Twitter, one user posted, "Farage just said what every frustrated taxpayer feels. Enough of the double standards." Another commented, This country doesn't need more Farages or Lammies, it needs real solutions. Tired of the shouting. And perhaps the most viral clip of the day, Farage walking out of the chamber with a half-smile, while Lammy stayed seated, staring down at his notes. It wasn't just a debate. It was a political moment that summed up everything people feel right now: anger, exhaustion, and disbelief at how divided things have become. This confrontation isn't just about two men shouting across a room. It's about two very different visions for Britain's future, one rooted in reclaiming the past, the other in reimagining it. And the real question is, which vision will win the hearts of voters when the next election comes around? Farage clearly believes the tide is turning, that the public's patience with establishment politics has run out. Lammy, meanwhile, believes that progressive politics will prevail once people see through what he calls political theater. But right now, in the eyes of millions watching online, the verdict feels split. What happens next may be the real story. Because if this clash is any sign of what's coming, British politics is about to get louder, rougher, and far more unpredictable.